bringing in clips, let me flip. I watch your body frame like a G-clip. Bits I have, mixed with rap, I'm unstoppable like epidemics. Do it for gimmick, it's dispose of, it's no love. I throw a bolo to his head like a gold club. My greener days are coming to me like I sold what? It did go sack, now they fucking with a hold up. Promotion pretty, really needy, but your flow's up. See, I've been living in the darkness for some time. My metaphors, creative flows, always punchline. To rule my status of the baddest of the unsigned. A title once mine, I enter several meetings with the humble and dramatic. The bladder moves within they battle, I'ma have to battle. So who? The next kid in line for execution. I'm ready to go to war, for I'm blind with revolution and confusion. I see into your thoughts like telepathy, don't ever. Cause I can put your intellect in jeopardy. You better see like this. Prescriptions on they babies of lead leaks. And you put the description of a dead beat. So see, you only bring yourself in a place. Pay attention. For you up now in the third dimension and it's so. Man, one, another dimension. Man, one, another dimension. Man, one, another dimension. You informed, so let's beware of a contender. Bottle with brain benders, lyrics up with that gender. Lesson on the trip as I flip the diction. With this prescription, I kill the fiction in fairy tales. Scary flows in my book of reality. Hassle me and you'll see that you'll get took when you battle me, man. What is the plan for you? Simply less intelligent. Irrelevant rack and speech when you go against the heaven sent. This is the fate of the defeated. The fate I like review when I dissent would be conceded. And indeed it is a thing that I possess for those who show it. For Romeo, I'm liking it. The fight that welcomes poets. Oh, it's a bit too much for those who lust for lyricism. The villains of your life are getting butted with your ism. You wanted what you feel is something real is what I give them. My sex is in a lack of what I call the third dimension and it's gone. Man, one, another dimension. Man, one, another dimension. Man, one, another dimension. Man, one, another dimension. It's of the land of the man in my stomping ground. I'm of the box, I count my lot where my corpus clown down.
Big props to Roland Jones. Motherfucking Roland Jones over here. Dimension. Love that shit. Thank you so much. Support your local underground artist. Making that underground fucking music. There we go. Welcome to the motherfucking show. We're gonna do an hour of this. You know, current events. Shit's going down. Shit's going down. Welcome to the motherfucking News Underground. The only place where you're gonna get real information. Because you ain't getting real information from these jokers. What, you wanna watch Master Chef with me? How about no? How about we actually get into the news of the day? How about we get into some substantive, actual shit? Instead of jerking each other off, feeling good about each other. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy that you're happy. There's millions of people that are not happy. Because of the people that we choose to govern us. The people that we choose to govern us are failing us, killing us, hurting us. The Republicans and neoliberals that we choose to put in charge of us are detrimental to mankind's progress. Black Jew. Oh my God, is that his name? J-U-U? I'll probably get in trouble for saying that. J-U-U. God, I'm a fat ass. Look at my fucking face. All right. Some footage from World War One. Been watching some World War One documentaries. Fascinating war. You know, I hope we never have to repeat it. I was watching a documentary on Verdun, and it was shocking. You know, the German strategy was to kill as many Frenchmen as possible. So instead of capturing Verdun, the German general, or whatever you call him, Hamburger Meister or whatever, he was actively fighting against his, on the ground generals who were trying to take the city, and he was doing everything he can to stymie that. It's just interesting, the personal ambitions of individuals getting in the way of military victory. It's interesting, because it's like you got this massive military, you got millions of people, involved in it, and at the end of the day, it's the decisions of one guy that can make or break the conflict. And that fascinates me, is that, you got this chain of command, you got all these different things, but at the end of the day, it's still one man. This is fucking great. This is fucking great, dude. So not only did these jokers have a PowerPoint presentation that went over in detail how they were going to steal the election illegally, right? Because they were like, oh, no, just Pence doesn't have to certify, and he could just pretend there's chicanery in Arizona. So they went as far as to forge official documents. This is really something else. So they went as far as forging documents declaring Trump the election winner in pivotal states. I mean, come on. It really doesn't get much more. Why are we looking at this? What are you doing, Raw Story? This is vulgar. Can you make it go away, please? No. Okay. We got to look at that. Wow. Quite an ad system you got. Oh, I can undo it. I can't make this go away, though. I have to look at this. Great job, Raw Story. Keeping me coming back. If I subscribe, does this madness go away? If I subscribe, does this shit go away? I should subscribe. I like Raw Story. All right, so here we go. The House Select Committee has been investigating Donald Trump's efforts to pressure individual states to declare him the winner in the 2020 election. Yeah, we all know that. Lawmakers investigating the January 6th insurrection have obtained thousands of records from state officials, including forged certificates declaring him the winner in both Arizona and Michigan. I'm talking forged. That means Donald Trump or someone in his orbit said, we know this is wrong. We're not even going to try to fudge it. We're not even going to try to pretend that this is legal. And we're going to get the Photoshop experts to whip up a forged certificate. Wow. And interviewed numerous witnesses, including the Democratic secretaries of state in each of those states. I mean, because the debate is, was it a coup? Was it a coup attempt, or was it just this guy's ego going crazy? And I mean, this is a coup attempt. This is a clear effort by the regime that's in charge to destroy democracy, lie to the American public, and tell them that they've won the election when in fact they haven't, when they lost it by 8 million votes. I mean, this is a coup attempt. There's no tiptoeing around this. Forged document? I mean, we're not even talking like forged, like, oh, this journalist said this, or this politician said that, or eyewitness reports say this. No. This is forging the certificate that says, this is an honest election. I'm signing off on this. It's been audited and checked and certified, and I don't think people quite understand, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with the Republicans in general, is that there's no longer any effort to try and keep this democratic system the way it is. There is an understanding that they are irrelevant, that they are, by the day, people are losing interest in them for obvious reasons. They know it. They know they're repulsive. They wear it as a badge of honor. I'm a deplorable. I'm a deplorable person. I'm proud of that. So I don't know why we're expecting deplorable people to respect democracy. Now, with that said, of course, Hillary's use of deplorables and all that, totally tone deaf, example of the neoliberal rot, the neoliberal strategy of ignoring tens of millions of people in the country because they're, right-leaning is a terrible idea. So don't get me wrong on that front. And interviewed numerous witnesses, including the Democratic secretaries of state in each of those states, reported Politico. They mostly discussed election administration in Arizona, the 2020 elections, threats, harassment directed towards the office. I mean, they really thought they were going to win Arizona. They were shocked. They were floored from what I've heard of the eyewitness reports of the Trump war room when the votes were getting counted. In the Cyber Ninjas partisan ballot review, said a spokesperson for Arizona's Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs. Arizona took legal action against one of the pro-Trump sovereign citizen groups, whose leader met with Rudy Giuliani in December 2020, by sending a cease and desist letter ordering them to stop using the state seal and referred to the matter of the state. Wow. So they were actually already getting called out. They were already getting called out for using the official state seal on documents that were not official. By affixing the state seal to documents containing false and misleading information about the results of Arizona's November 3rd, 2020 general election, you undermine the confidence in our democratic institutions. Gee, I wonder why. Hobbs wrote one of the pro-Trump groups. The committee has also obtained emails, texts, and phone recordings that include a text message from then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Mr. Secretary, Mark Meadows here, reads the November 19th, 2020 message. If you could give me a brief call at your convenience, thank you. The committee also received a December 22nd, 2020 email from Raffensperger aide Jordan Fuchs, I don't know, Fuchs, it's probably Fuchs, to Meadows asking the White House official to clarify a few items about absentee ballots, along with emails between Senator Lindsey Graham, Fancy Boy, and Raffensperger's office showing how the GOP senator came to call the Secretary of State about 2 weeks after the 2020 election. Hope you're doing well, said Graham. Senator Graham has requested a call. Okay, whatever. In other news, dirty traitor, quote unquote. I don't know. Raw Story, what are you doing? Like, I get it. I guess they're quoting somebody or something. I don't know. This looks a little partisan, frankly. Can you not do this, please? Like, he is a traitor, but I don't want my news sources to be, I don't want them snipping and snapping. You know what I mean? I don't find that appropriate. TYT, breaking points, formats like this, useful idiots, bad faith podcast. That's where you can snip and snap. But you're out here calling yourself a journalistic organization. You know, I get it. It's a quote from somebody, but it's not a source quote. How do I know where this quote's even from? Is this quote from the author of the article? I just don't like it. I hate Jim Jordan. I hate the fascistic Republicans, but I think shit like this only serves to fuel partisan divides. Coming from journalists. I think it's coming from fucking retards on Twitch, you know. Oh, I guess we can't say that. Fucking dumbasses on Twitch. There you go. Don't want to offend any retards now. I found, you know, as much as I hate playing CNN for you guys, I think this is actually an interesting breakdown of why Mitch McConnell, like, because Mitch McConnell has been, you know, he was initially, Trump bad, and now he's like, well, Trump may be bad, but we're not gonna do anything about it, kind of situation. And now he's like maybe supporting some kind of effort. I don't know. Why is he flip-flopping on this, right? And I think this person from CNN actually does a pretty good job of breaking down what the motivations for Mitch McConnell are and why we've seen, you know, seemingly, you know, him kind of play both sides here, which he usually does a little bit, you know. Anyway.
1 year later, half of Republican voters say rioters were protecting democracy. 7 in 10 say Biden's win by 7 million plus votes was a fraud. Joining me now with their reporting and their insight. Catherine Lucy, The Wall Street Journal, Jonathan Martin, The New York Times, The Washington Post, Paul Kane, and CNN's Eva McKen. And Catherine, I want to start with you because, you know, it was just last month that President Biden said, I don't think about the former president. He very rarely speaks about the former president, certainly never says his name. Now, privately, I think you and I are both keenly aware he thinks about the former president a lot. But this shift in...
What? How the fuck do you know? Why is that the 100% certain assumption? I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that when I played this last time, you know, when I was listening to it on my own. What? But you and I know 100% certain he's thinking about him all the time. Huh? Do we know that? We don't know that. I haven't seen a fucking lick of evidence. You know, there was plenty of evidence of Trump obsessing over Obama over the littlest of fucking things. I have yet to see any evidence of Joe Biden obsessing over Trump in any kind of fashion. I don't know. It just seems a little dishonest. Like, we know for certain Trump is on his mind 24/7, according to this fucking pretty boy from CNN. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm not over here defending fucking Biden. I want proof of the things that come out of people's mouths. And you're like, oh yeah, this guy can't shut up. He's constantly thinking about Trump. Have we seen even a lick of evidence of that? Fuck, I think he's more concerned with Joe Manchin than he is with Trump. But I don't fucking know. I can't read his mind.
He very rarely speaks about the former president, certainly never says his name. Now, privately, I think you and I are both keenly aware he thinks about the former president a lot.
Keenly aware. I think you and I are keenly aware that he thinks about him a lot. You got a source for that one, dude? CNN. It's supposed to be news? Or is that your opinion there, Slick? God, that's annoying.
But this shift in messaging, this shift in going straight at the former president, what was the rationale behind it?
You're so right, Phil. This was a real
He's talking about Biden's speech, by the way, on January 6th.
turning point in the way he talked about the president publicly. He really has spent the past year trying to move away from talking about him, you know, trying to focus on unity when he could.
He doesn't talk about, move away from talking about him.
And, you know, as I understand it, and I think I'm sure your reporting shows too, that the White House really felt that they couldn't make this speech. He couldn't stand in the Capitol and talk about these events and really not directly address President Trump, former President Trump, and his role. And so they really felt they had to take him on squarely. And I think it's important not just that he talked about Trump, but the way he talked about Trump, that he really used very strong language. He talked about his bruised ego, as you just saw.
God, you know, the pundits with the hyperbolic comments, he really laid into him. No, he fucking didn't. Okay? Laying into him would be pointing out his diapers. You know what I'm saying? Like, laying into him would be pointing out the emoluments clause, right? But not even saying his name and going, "Oh, this guy was kind of bad sometimes." I'm being hyperbolic about, you know, the negatives of Biden's speech. It was his best speech ever, period. But they always do this. They always, you know, the CNN, MSNBC, you know, Hillary comes out or Obama comes out and, you know, makes a small hint at something. And he's like, oh, dropping elbows. Whoa, he really waylaid into him. It's just fucking false.
Talked about him being defeated. He talked about him using words that he must know would infuriate the former president. And we saw with the responses that we saw from former President Trump, he was frustrated. So it was both taking on this fight and the way he took it on very directly in very stark terms.
Yeah, it was a fight that the president clearly wanted to pick after spending more than a year very clearly not wanting that fight. Jen Psaki, when she was asked about the former president's statements, embraced the fight as well. J-Mart, I think it's the reality.
Did Jen Psaki really do it? Oh, yeah, lay it into him.
Right? It's kind of the disconnect of what President Biden wants to be, where he wants the country to go, and the reality that his presidency is still defined by what happened on January 6th and his predecessor.
Trumpism is not over. In fact, Alex Burns and I are finishing a book right now that's called This Will Not Pass. Trumpism has not passed. The polarization, the sort of larger polarization that is shaping the country's politics, shaping the country really at large, has not passed. Over a year after an election, you have chants of "Let's go Brandon" at sporting events across the country. Politics is still seeping into everyday life here in a way that it would not have 10, 20 years ago. I think that's the reality Biden is facing. The campaign has not ended. We're in a permanent campaign. January 6th was not the culmination. It was one more way station, sadly, on the way south in this country's polarized politics. And Biden is simply recognizing that, and he is finally listening to the sort of advice of his party and trying to take it to Trump and trying to create a contrast, trying to present himself as an alternative to Trump and Trumpism.
You're looking way too much into it.
Rather than simply somebody who is out there gamely, if not terribly successfully, trying to heal the country.
And
come on.
One of the, kind of the best.
Come on. Joe Biden's trying to heal the country? Where's my check? Where's my check? This guy's getting a check, I can tell you that. Oh, yeah, Joe Biden's healing the country. Yeah. Can't believe Joe Biden brought up bipartisanship in his fucking January 6th speech. Oh, the good Republicans, there's like 2 of them left, Joe. They're all on Trump's side, you fucking moron. Come on, you sucker.
Best windows into kind of why this moment has presented itself for the president, but also where the Republican Party is not the Matt Gaetzes or the Marjorie Taylor Greenes that you see all the time. It's somebody that you covered quite closely in your last job, and that's Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Take a listen to what he had to say about, I think, during the impeachment trial about President Trump's role here.
YouTube. God damn it, YouTube.
Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
Look at the statement that he put out on Thursday. He says, quote, "The United States Capitol, the seat of the first branch of our federal government, was stormed by criminals who brutalized police officers and used force to try and stop Congress from doing his job." But he goes on to accuse Democrats of using the anniversary to push through a voting rights agenda that doesn't have anything to do with January 6th, saying, quote, "Senators should not be trying to exploit the anniversary to damage the Senate in a different way from within."
And he says these things with a straight face because he knows exactly what his party is doing. He knows his party is doing everything they can to damage the sanctity of these institutions. And, he's doing his job. No, I mean, honestly, I can't think of a single individual more damaging to American democracy than this individual right here. I mean, he truly has taken that crown from Dick Cheney.
Broader point being that McConnell made very clear his feelings on Trump, doesn't really talk about Trump anymore, but doesn't talk about it generally anymore, which I think underscores better than anything else where the party ended up going in the wake of January 6th.
Yeah, Phil, listen, the Republican leader knows what he has to do to maintain power. And he quickly understood that after those initial comments were made, that he saw no political benefit to continue making similar comments. He wants to remain leader. His number one priority is taking back the Senate, for Republicans to take back the majority. And he doesn't see the political benefit of continuing to hammer Trump. He has indicated, for instance, that he thinks that the outcome of the January 6th investigation will be interesting, but I think that that's as far as he is going to go on this issue, because he wants to remain leader, and he cannot needle the Trump base and keep his caucus in line.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued when he slips in that he's very interested in what the January 6th panel is up to. PK, if you want to understand where the party is, you look at their voters, you look at their constituents. That's what so many members, even those who don't like former President Trump, always tell me when I ask them kind of where they are on things. One thing that struck me, there was a focus group on January 6th. It was in the New York Times, Republican voters talking about kind of where they are, and I think this underscores why GOP leaders where they are, including one, Barney, a Delaware Republican, says, "So it's not Pearl Harbor, it's not 9/11, it's January 6, 2021, and it's just another day, every day. If you live in Washington, turn on the news, you hear January 6th 100 times a day. If you go out to Oklahoma, you don't hear it. Gail, a Florida Republican. People don't talk about it. The issues that we're dealing with right now, it's COVID and inflation, the supply chain issues. So January 6th never really gets discussed. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. And I think there is a dissonance here. I've got good friends and family members who were sending me text messages on January 6th trying to see if I was okay in the Capitol, who now think it wasn't a big deal or was kind of invented. Why does that exist?
It's, a 20 to 25 year media technology revolution, echo chamber, where people live inside silos and just start hearing one side of the coin.
This happens on the neoliberal side as well, right? This is not just a right-wing phenomenon, right, dude?
That hear from the people that they want to hear from. I think that creates a lot of it. I think
we don't see any of that
public,
on the left.
At least the public that are tuning in to these shows and on Twitter are really just viewing it, not even through an ideological idea. It's just like sports. I cheer for the Phillies and the Eagles and the Philadelphia teams, so therefore I will, cheer for them regardless. That's sort of where we have gone.
A lot of people are so politically nihilistic that they basically, treat their party like a sports team. And, I think it's a little reductive, but I think it is elucidating, though, at the same time, because, I mean, you see it all the time on the left and the right, just a knee-jerk protection of individuals who are committing crimes and be like, well, it's my side, so it's different. And that has absolutely caused a complete disintegration of, I would say, a complete disintegration of their respect, the respect that people have for them as a party. I think it's like, well, it makes it all the easier to go, well, both sides are bad, both sides are corrupt. So I'm just going to go with the one that my daddy, like, if they're not taking it seriously, why should I take it seriously? Now, obviously I don't believe in that, but I think there's a lot of people who they don't put as much thought into politics as we do. They don't put as much thought into their principles as we do. And they're very comfortable, throwing away their voice to a charlatan because they honestly feel like, well, it doesn't matter either way. So I might as well vote for the one that makes me feel good.
A lot of politics right now. Looking forward to, the fall and the midterm elections. I think most Democrats, their strategists and top advisors do realize that January 6th is going to be a motivating issue for their base, for their activists, to get them to the polls, but they don't think it's going to be a critical battleground issue in a lot of those seats that they need to win.
He's not wrong. The critical battleground issue is actually doing something. Student debt, marijuana, the voting thing, voting rights reform is important, but honestly, that's not going to get people to vote for you. That's not going to get the normies to vote for you. That'll get guys like me to be like, okay, I'll shut up. I'll quit calling you a dumbass. Now, who am I kidding? But it would make me be like, hey, okay, I got to give him props on this one. But that's not going to get people to the polls. What will get people to the polls? A real tax break, a real $2,000 COVID check, like real tangible something that they can say, like the gas price is going down. There's another one. Hey, look, I was hating on Joe, but now look at these gas prices, man. They're under $2. That's a huge deal. That's how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to get people to vote for you. But we're not seeing any of that. We'll be lucky if they even pass this John Lewis Voting Rights Act. I mean, because if they don't, then it's literally over. That's it. Wrap it up. Democracy is now in the hand, has been subverted by fascism. Because after 2022, if this is the Democrats' last opportunity to pass a law that will allow them to stay relevant as a political party. If they fail to do that before the 2022 elections, that's it. That's the end of their supermajority, and they may never get it back. Literally. They may never get it back.
And to keep their majorities in the House and Senate, I do think that most of your voters are going to be looking at the pandemic, schools, jobs, and the economy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll get to that.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about the horse race some more.
Interesting you would acknowledge rooting for the Eagles after last night. Catherine, I want to close with you. Look, one of the interesting things, again, you talk to Republicans and they'll say quietly or privately that they don't agree with former President Trump, or they certainly don't agree with the January 6th stuff or the election lies. But it's so clear the downside to humoring him and letting him kind of go. Take a look at this quote from the Washington Post on November 9th. It says, "What is the downside for humoring him for this little bit of time? No one seriously thinks the results will change," said one senior Republican official who sounds like a South Carolina senator. He went golfing this weekend. It's not like he's plotting how to prevent Joe Biden from taking power in January 2020. Flash forward to now, the Washington Post found that Big Lie supporters were running to help oversee elections, at least 163 in state races, 69.
This is it right here. This is the end of our democracy, and this is why the John Lewis Voting Act is so important. Okay, these are people that are installing themselves in an effort to destroy the institution that they're installing themselves into. They don't see it that way. They see it as, oh, we're going to correct it. That is not what's going to happen. These people will do everything in their power, okay, to destroy your vote, to destroy your voice. And they're going to do it under the guise of rooting out corruption, of rooting out fraud. And they are going to be participating in fraud under that guise. I can't put it any more clearly. These people, this is it. This is it. This, you know, like, because, you know, like, oh, it's going to be some movie. It's going to be like, just don't look up, right? And it's going to be some big, obvious, single thing that we can all look up and say, like, this is the problem. No. This is very complicated, okay? Piece by piece, bit by bit, law by law, okay? Appointment by appointment, okay? It's happening slowly, in a very boring way, okay? But, you know, the end result is I voted for candidate A, and so did 7 million other of us. Candidate B had 5 million votes, and candidate B is always going to win. That's the end result of it. Is that you could have 15 million votes and candidate B still only gets 6 million votes, and somehow candidate B still wins. That is what they are doing. Okay? That is how democracy dies. It doesn't die in a big speech in the movies like in Star Wars. Okay? It happens bit by bit, piece by piece. And we're running out of pieces. They're almost ready. I mean, 2022 is going to be the trial run for 2024. And it's my prediction that 2022 is going to be a very successful election season for the Republicans. Because, well, one, they're going to be lying to everybody, saying we're going to make everything better. And people are going to believe them, even though we have we have proof on how they act in these situations. That doesn't matter. They're going to be promising the moon and stars. They're going to be literally promising we're going to solve everything. We're going to make all your COVID problems go away. We're going to make COVID go away. It's all going to go away. You just got to vote for Republicans. And then, you know, and then once they're in there, of course they're not going to do anything, but they're not going to get punished for that anymore. They're just going to be able to just get away with it year after year after year after year. 20 million people voted for neoliberal. Insert neoliberal. They're so sick of right-wingers. 6 million people voted for the right-wing fascist. And guess who gets to stay in power? That is what is happening right now.
9 for governor, 55 Senate, 18 state secretary of state, 13 state attorney general. You know, you keep passing this off as a fad at your own risk, it seems like, inside the party.
That's right, and that's definitely true. You know, shortly after the election, a lot of people around Trump were saying, "Don't worry, he understands what's going on. You know, this isn't going to continue. Just let him cool off." And obviously, that's clearly not what has happened. And you're seeing these, Trump supporting candidates, running for these key offices, Republicans in key states weighing new voting laws, passing new voting laws. And there are a lot of folks who are really concerned about what this means in terms of the 2022 midterms and the 24 presidential race. Could these various efforts,
Stop it, CNN. Stop it. Stop asking, oh, could it, shoulda, woulda? It's happening. Cover it. Cover it. Interview these people. This should be 20, woo, 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 you got the fucking, banner going, oh, critical breaking news, this is it. And they're like, oh, well, could this actually affect democracy? Yes, you fucking moron, yes! God, do something about it, please.
Make it, make it harder to trust the process, undermine the electoral process. And I think that's one thing that, for electoral watchers, are really going to be watching very closely.
Oh, they're going to be watching real fucking closely, yeah. And they better have a box of tissues because it's literally the end of fucking democracy. Tune on in. Get your popcorn ready. Holy shit, CNN. If this isn't breaking news, if this isn't like literally get the clarion, the clarion fucking, the alarms, the going. What is? What? What? Oh, I bet you they did the breaking news for Kanye. I bet you they did the breaking news for fucking Bob Saget. R.I.P. Bob Saget. Yeah, okay, whatever. I don't really have any opinions on him. But, but this actual proof that the Republicans are doing everything in their power to subvert Americans' fucking vote, and it's just like Brady Bunch panel. Disinterested, making sports jokes. Fuck CNN. So adding to my list of fucks, the cops. So this is why you need to know your rights, folks. This is why you need to know your rights. Because look what cops, let me put this as blatantly and clear as possible, okay? Let me look right in the camera. Cops lie. They lie. Straight up. They lie on paperwork. They lie in court. They lie on the ground. They lie to you. And the thin blue line cult and the police unions have supported laws and rules that allow them to lie to you. Anyone remember entrapment? Anyone remember that little gem? That's out the window. But we're not even talking about entrapment. I'm talking about just straight up, this is the law in the book, and the cop is telling you the exact opposite because if you go, oh, okay, you can go ahead and do it, then it doesn't matter if he lied. Isn't that great? If a cop walks up to you, and like in this case here, oh my God, unsatiable. Well, what's the point of giving you advice when you don't take it? I think I've given you advice like 50 times, and every time it's like your solution is to whack people with sticks. That's my question, unsatiable. What's the point? What's the point in teaching an incel how to be a man when they have this support group online that's like, no, you should be proud of being an incel. You should be proud of being a loser. So I don't know what piece of advice I could give you at this point, unsatiable. You gotta be who you are, I guess. You know, I these online communities that back up and reinforce some of the worst tendencies of young men are incredibly detrimental. When I went in an incel board, that's what I'm saying, man. They're like, you're a good guy. You don't have to change anything. Well, everything else has to change around you. Continue to be a fucking weirdo. Yeah. Women should just be forced to date weirdos. I don't want to stop being a weirdo. Yeah. Yeah. So, tell me when you're actually willing to start taking the advice I give you, and then I'll start giving you some. All right? Because I feel like I'm talking to a wall with you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Cops lie. Okay? You'll be in a situation where the cop is saying, oh, no, this is the law. I can do this. This is all legal. And if you go and if you acquiesce, you be like, all right, okay, come on in. They and it's like, and you got this on camera that he lied to you and you let him in. Because you let him in, it's legally okay for him to lie to you. Great system. Great system. So have a look at this. Let me 3 solid minutes of a cop straight up fucking lying. Lying. I was trying to make you say why they pulled over. They can have you. No. Look, you got to understand your rights, okay? Because they fucking lie to you and they are legally allowed to. They are legally allowed to lie to you. Let me change my current subject here real quick.
Now, do you have a search warrant to be on my property?
Okay. I do not, okay?
Okay, so...
But, listen to me, all right? If you can just provide this information for me, your IDs, if you live here...
I'm not providing you nothing, man. Matter of fact, get off my property right now if you don't have a search warrant.
Sir, I'm
asking you nice.
And I was asking you nicely as well.
Hey, sir, all I'm saying, if you don't have a search warrant, paperwork to be on my property, what crime do you suspect
Okay,
suspect me of committing?
The only crime that I have right now is y'all failure to identify.
Okay, 38.0.
You don't have an obligation to identify yourself if you're not committing a crime.
2, failure to identify. One must already be under arrest for a crime that he has committed. What crime have I committed?
Failure to identify.
No, that's not a crime. That only becomes a crime once one has already lawfully... Be quiet. Let me educate this one. You hear me? Let me educate him. 38.02, failure to identify. Only becomes a crime when one has already been lawfully arrested for a crime. Let me give you an example, sir, since I don't know who you is.
Detained.
Huh?
What about detained?
What am I being detained for?
You were detained because
Is he under arrest?
suspicious activity.
No. What penal code? You got to name a penal code that I've committed. That is the crime. Name a crime that I committed. You hear me? Name a crime that I committed other than being black and walking down this driveway.
You were detained for suspicious behavior.
Hey, Shoemaker. Shoemaker. Don't do that, brother. Don't do that. And what I'm telling you is 38.02. Baby, come here. Can I Google and show you guys?
Go ahead and Google.
Okay, I'm finna show you guys because you're dealing with the wrong one. That's why you guys mad at me, because you won't be able to handle me like you handle the other one.
No, the worst crime in America is disagreeing with the cop. These people will do everything in their power. If these guys look like rookies, frankly, because a seasoned cop would ignore everything that guy is saying and be like, oh, now you're being hostile. Now you're being hostile. Yep. Okay. Now you're being arrested. Now you're being detained. That's how the senior cops handle this. It's like, okay, yep, I'm trumping up charges. Yep, making up charges. Yep, you're pissing me off. All right, I'm pissed. You've pissed me off. Committed the crime. You're getting arrested. And these guys, frankly, they're rookies. They don't know how to oppress people properly, like the modern police agencies do.
Because I'm on top of my game. I know you see the gold teeth, the tattoos, and immediately think I'm another plain, normal, regular black guy. No, player, wrong one. But let me educate you guys today. You hear me? Because that shit y'all time of running things, it has came to a closure, bro.
I don't know about that, homie.
38.02. Okay. Texas Penal Code, 38.02. Let me read it to you so you can be educated. Do you want to purchase data? No, I do not. Not now.
Do you want to purchase data?
Failure to identify. A person commits an offense if he intentionally refused to give his name, residence, address, or date of birth to a peace officer who has lawfully arrested the person. I am not under arrest.
Correct.
You have to... for what? Because this is proof right here, Marlon, of what we're dealing with. This is proof what we're dealing with. We got people in charge of us who don't even know the laws themselves.
They don't know the law, and they're trying to break them.
You hear me? I quote them for them and let them read them.
Leave. Get off the man's property.
Yes, look at them.
Go get your warrant.
Look at them. Straight tyranny.
Go get your warrant. Flatfoot. Why don't you learn the fucking laws? You know, because you know what? I bet you that guy would have given him a lot more information if he was like, yeah, no, you're right, sir. I'm going to get off your property here. I'm not asking for your information. You know, there was some crime. I'm sure there was something that they were there for, right? Some crime. Like, oh, you know, I respect your rights. You're right. I don't have a warrant. I'm not going to go get a warrant. I'm looking just for some basic information. You know, thank you for your time. Thank you. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. They walk up and strong arm you and lie to you. Oh, you have to give me your information. You're being detained. Am I being detained? No. But the law that you're breaking is that you're not giving me your name and information. I have to break a law for me to give you that information. And like I said, a senior cop would have just trumped something up. A senior cop would have just trumped something up. Okay, yep, now you're arrested. Now you got to give me, you know, now I don't need a warrant. So what do you got here, Unsatiable? What do you got for me? Let's take a look.
Mark and Craig, Pop Brothers at Law. Listen to a couple of these audios that we got from some followers who utilized the script and maintained their...
Man, why are you showing me? This is my first day of weed sobriety. Why are you showing me two old guys living life, being successful, smoking bud? Unsatiable, you're the worst, man. Ha!
Rights,
Pass
even though
that
the cops
blunt,
were being
dude.
abusive, and even called one of them a dick. Listen up.
How much have you been smoking? I'm not discussing it, Dave. Where are you going? I'm not discussing my day. Huh? I'm not discussing my day. No, I'm just asking it. Yeah, I don't want to answer that question. Okay. Is that weed on the side here? I don't know. I'm not discussing my day. Well, you know it's illegal to have marijuana inside your car? Without the proper container? I'm not discussing anything, sir. Okay. So, he's being a dick a little bit, so...
That's it. That's it.
Right,
That's it. Oh, he's being a dick. Yep. Let's go ahead and trump up all these charges. Make sure we ruin his life. This is how police operate on a daily. On a daily. And if you think the traffic cops and the fucking lower cops are bad, wait do you have to deal with a detective? Why do you have to deal with a detective who literally, you know, puts your case in his hands and say, I'm going to give you justice today, or nope, you pissed me off. You talk back to me. I'm not going to give you justice today. No, I'm not really going to investigate the crime that was committed against you. Wait until you get victimized and you got to deal with a detective sitting on his fucking hands. I had to beg a detective to fucking pull some fingerprints from a fucking robbery. Got all offended.
Check this out. Go ahead and step out for me.
Can you tell me why?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now in a second. Step out.
I just want to know what I did.
Okay. I can smell marijuana coming from the car. I'm going to search it.
In California, smell is not probable cause.
Yeah, it is.
No, it is not.
Yeah, it is. I can verify how much there's in the vehicle. I asked you if you guys smoked. You told me you're not going to discuss your day, so I guess I'll find out by myself.
Guess I'll punish you.
All right. If you would have just told me.
You would have just told me, I wouldn't punish you.
Go ahead and leave this in the car.
Okay. So in both those instances, they stuck to their guns, they stuck to the script, they didn't let the cop intimidate them, even though one called the guy a dick, and the other cop thought he knew the law better than what we teach, which is smell in California is not probable cause.
Alone.
So what happened in both those instances, one of them who got pulled over for not having proper registration got a ticket for registration. They searched the car, found about an eighth of weed, and then gave it back. That's the cop who said smell was probable cause. I wonder why he didn't take the weed.
Yeah, he didn't take it and didn't arrest him.
Give him a ticket for open container.
Didn't do that either. They just wrote him off for the registration. The other guy who got pulled over and called him a dick for asserting his rights, he ended up with an open container, but we think the search was illegal, and we're going to be fighting that case.
Hell yeah.
All over a roach, too, that the cops found.
Right. One
fucking
little
roach.
So you got to be careful out there and stick to your guns. Don't let the cops intimidate you. You hear it. They're going to claim they know the law better.
And these guys did it very politely, invoke their...
Yeah, no, I mean, he didn't go, oh, fuck you, pig. He said, no, I'm not going to discuss my day. You know, I'm not going to, he's asking, there is nothing wrong with a cop asking a question and a citizen saying, I'm not legally obliged to give you that information. Does anyone ever, do you remember the Miranda rights? You have the right to remain silent. You know, you have the right to not incriminate yourself. Cops lie.
Script and invoke their rights, and it should be known. We're going to fight these tickets, traffic tickets. We're going to go to battle with these to make sure that everybody's safe. When you invoke your
that is a fat fucking joint, dude. Pass that shit, please.
rights, you're not being a dick. And these guys clearly were not being dicks. They were very polite. It was a great example of what to do. Stand up for your rights. The more people that do this, the less the cops can be able to fuck with us.
And stay tuned, because we're going to give Mr. Checkpoint this information along with their badge numbers and names.
Hell yeah.
We're going to call out these officers from Costa Mesa and Albany, California. That's where these two instances happened.
Fuck
so
yeah.
There you go. That's the tip of the day.
No, those guys are doing good work, because they're, you know, cops use your ignorance of the law against you. Make bank ever since pot got legalized in California. I don't know. I hope they are. I'm sure they're, you know, the thing about the marijuana industry in California is that they're kind of eating themselves alive, because the taxes are so high, because there's big marijuana in California. There is the large AAA marijuana companies, and then there's everyone else. When marijuana was legalized, they passed laws, you know, that basically squeezed out all the little guys, you know, all the mom and pops. And now it's really only the you know, the multi-million-dollar, the multi-billion-dollar pot organizations that have any kind of sway now. It's just so funny. Like, if you had talked to me 10 years ago, you know, about how legalization is going to be handled, I would have never guessed, you know, the way it's being handled in California. Trust busting exists for a reason. Yeah, well, yeah, it does. But I mean, good luck even trying to convince an American that unions are essential. You know, good luck trying to convince an American that, you know, single payer health care, you know, is criminal. Is criminal that we don't have it. Break up the weed monopolies and make them give me weed. Can we stop talking about weed, please?
Welcome to Democracy.
I'm so fucking sober, it hurts.
Now, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. At least 19 people, 9 of them children, were killed and dozens injured on Sunday when a fire spread thick smoke through a high-rise apartment building in the Bronx. New York's fire commissioner said victims suffered from severe smoke inhalation, and the fire was triggered from a malfunctioning electric space heater.
Yeah, no, and where was the safety? You know, where was the fire, alarms and smoke alarms and all that stuff? Man, they just let fucking poor people just burn to death. You know, is anyone going to get sued over this? Is anyone going to fucking get any kind of punishment over this? Same thing in Florida. What happened to that apartment that just fucking collapsed? Is anyone going to get in trouble for that?
Many of the building's residents are African immigrants.
Yeah.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams urged victims to come forward regardless of their immigration status.
If you need assistance, your names would not be turned over to ICE or any other institution. We want people to be comfortable in coming forward.
The bill
promises are just that, words. Far too often has the immigrant community heard those words, and then they get put on a fucking list afterwards. Okay? Because let's face it, the federal government will come in and just sequester these things. Okay? You know, New York and California, they can be sanctuary cities all they want. The fact of the matter is the feds come down and then they have to relinquish those documents. And, you know, illegal immigrants, why would you take that chance? Why?
The building where Sunday's fire took place is owned by an investment group whose co-founder, Rick Gropper, served on Eric Adams' transition team as an advisor on housing issues. It was New York City's deadliest residential fire in decades and came just days after a blaze at a public housing property in Philadelphia killed 12 people, including 8 children.
Awesome.
Democratic
Great
Congressmember
fucking
Richie
job.
Torres, whose district includes the Bronx building that burned Sunday, blamed decades of disinvestment in affordable housing that he said leaves buildings, quote, wide open to catastrophic fires that can cost people their lives, unquote. In Georgia, the 3 men who chased down and murdered Ahmaud Arbery were sentenced to life in prison Friday.
Fucking right.
Travis McMichael, who shot Arbery 3 times, and his father, Gregory
Guilty.
McMichael, a former police officer, will not be eligible for parole. Their
Good.
neighbor, William Bryan, will become eligible for parole after 30 years. Before announcing the sentences, Judge Timothy Walmsley held a minute of silence representing just a fraction of the time 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery ran from the 3 killers. Outside the courtroom, Arbery's family and their supporters celebrated the sentences. This is his father, Marcus Arbery.
He's a kid of love. Because he brought people together. I'm telling you, he was the younger, but he thought he was the oldest. So, hey, Ahmaud, rest in peace. Because mom and daddy got glory for you. Amen.
Attorney Ben Crump also highlighted...
It really is nice to see just a little bit of justice. The guy was chased down and murdered. Self-defense. Jesus Christ.
the significance of the trial's outcome.
Today, your son has made history because we have people who are being held accountable for lynching a black man in America.
All 3 of Arbery's murderers will also face a federal hate crime trial next month.
Good.
And news about the pandemic. Nearly a quarter of U.S. hospitals are reporting critical staffing shortages as Omicron drives an unprecedented surge in coronavirus.
Some of these nurses are getting paid Walmart wages. Do you know that? On our anti-work, there was a post from about a hospital that's complaining that they haven't been able to hire a radiologist, but you need training in how to do that shit, by the way. And they're like, oh, yeah, we keep getting, no one wants to apply because everyone's applying to the Walmart that pays like $15 an hour. And I'm thinking medical professionals are getting wages that are shittier than Walmart? Yeah, you betcha. Yeah, no, imagine going to school. Imagine getting a certificate. Imagine getting, a medical, you're medically trained. Right? And then you go to an employer and they want to pay you like a gas station attendant. It's the same thing with fucking shipping right now with logistics. We have this incredible shortage of truck drivers. It requires training. It requires certificates. Sometimes it requires you to own your own truck. Right? And what do they want to pay them? Less than $15 an hour. This is unbelievable that they think they can still get away with this. They want trained professionals for starvation slave wages. And seemingly they're willing to go out of business because our entire business model depends on this type of extreme exploitation. We simply can't exist as a business unless we're paying our workers starvation wages. But guess what? A lot of these companies reporting record profits. Reporting record profits.
Cases. In Chicago, public schools are closed for a 4th day as talks between the teachers union and Mayor Lori Lightfoot over in-person teaching remain at an impasse. New York Congressmember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the latest lawmaker to test positive for COVID-19. The New York Democrat, who's vaccinated and boosted, said she's symptomatic and recovering at home. In Ethiopia, aid groups have suspended their work in parts of the northern Tigray region after a deadly airstrike on a camp for displaced people killed at least 56 civilians last week. Dozens of others were wounded, including children. The attack by Ethiopian military forces took place late Friday. This comes as Tigray's biggest...
Yeah, no, insatiable. It's even worse. I mean, it's even worse than that. It's not. I mean, imagine they want years of experience and a certificate, and you got to pay for it yourself. Oh, you got to have 6 months of being an apprentice. Are you offering apprenticeships? Is there any place offering apprenticeships? Are you going to pay? I have to work for free for 6 months. I got a family, dude. And then after all of that, you get your job, and it's like $13 or $14 an hour or $15 an hour. These fucking oligarchs, these little mini tyrants that run these little fucking businesses, right? they cannot get away with this anymore. And that's just a fact. People are just not showing up.
Hospital is reporting they're running out of therapeutic foods to treat children with severe malnutrition. More than 40% of children under 5 who arrive
Amazon
at
will
the
break
hospital
your
are
back
malnourished, medics
and
say.
ask for
the
more.
The hospital is also facing a shortage of medicines and equipment, with doctors blaming the devastation on a 6-month blockade by government forces that's made it nearly impossible for aid to enter Tigray.
Jesus Christ.
In Burma, Aung San Suu Kyi has been sentenced to another 4 years in prison after a closed military court found her guilty of possessing walkie-talkies and violating coronavirus measures in what rights groups say are more trumped-up charges. Suu Kyi was overthrown alongside Burma's civilian leadership in last February's deadly military.
It'd be a whole lot better if it was an organized, concentrated effort to do this. I don't know how effective it will be in its current state of just disorganized, of people just being like, no, no. Because what I fear is going to happen is that Joe Biden and, or Republicans, if they, once they take over, is that they're going to attempt to de-incentivize staying at home. So they're going to start taking away unemployment benefits, and they're basically going to be like, no, we're not going to force employers to pay you more. We are going to make your life even more hellish when you're not working, so that you are forced to go to work for those starvation and slave wages, so the exploitation can continue. That is what I fear is what is going to happen. Eventually the workers will not be able to support themselves after a while. No, I mean, I would really prefer this effort to be an organized, concentrated effort, and it's not. I do like to see individuals taking, their life into their own hands and saying, fuck you, to a McDonald's, right? They absolutely deserve that. But at the same time, yeah, no, the government is going to, de-incentivize unemployment benefits to try and get people back to those starvation wages, start working for those. Because you just, as a company, you make fucking billions underpaying people. That money goes right into your pocket as a CEO, right? There is a direct incentive to treating people like absolute fucking garbage in this hyper exploitative capitalist system. No doubt about it.
Military coup. In related news, in neighboring Bangladesh, a massive blaze at a Rohingya refugee camp has razed the homes of over 5,000 people in Cox's Bazar. Destructive fires are not uncommon in the camp, which is home to some 850,000 Rohingya Muslims, many of whom fled Burma following 2017's genocidal campaign. In Nigeria, some 200 people were killed in the northwestern state of Zamfara last week following a series of reprisal attacks by armed bandits whose hideouts were targeted by military airstrikes. Armed gunmen stormed over a dozen villages in the region, shooting at residents, looting and burning their homes. An estimated 10,000 people were displaced, while others are still missing. An Australian judge has reinstated.
If they could get away with that, they would, and there might be small attempts to do that. In fact, remember was it the Kellogg's workers where they're on a big strike? The company offered them a complete piece of shit deal, and they said hell no. Then they tried to hire a bunch of scabs, and that didn't go very well. Not only were they just not able to find enough people, but the internet also stepped in and, submitted a bunch of fake applications to kind of, make it really difficult. So if they think they could get away with replacing everyone with immigrants and people on work visas, I think they would. But frankly, I don't think any effort could make up for the tens of thousands of people that are saying fuck you to Taco Bell and McDonald's and Walmart and all these other places that are just making people work for starvation wages. And then because they don't give a shit, they're not going to train you. No, you work for starvation's wages, and you don't like it, get the hell out of here. There's 10 more people waiting to take the job, and for the first time since I don't know ever, right? For they can't just instantly replace you if you're not happy with it, right? It's actually taking some effort, and they actually have to tweak their wages and actually get people in there. So I hope it's a net benefit, but you're not wrong. People can't live off nothing, and they certainly can't live off unemployment indefinitely. What is encouraging, though, Insatiable, is that a lot of these people they're not just quitting their job and then never working again. They're quitting their job or leaving their job for a better job, because there's enough people, because this is capitalism. It's supply and demand, right? Hey, I have a demand for an employee. I can't hire anybody at $15 an hour. I guess I got to bring it up to 16 or 17. And then all of a sudden it really doesn't take much to go from, oh, fuck no, fuck this company, to, okay, I guess I'll work here. It's like the difference of $2 or $3.
Serbian tennis star Novak Djokovic's visa and released him from immigration detention amidst the ongoing controversy over whether his COVID vaccine exemption is legitimate.
Oh, fuck this moron. Take your fucking jab, you idiot.
To revoke the visa
You're not
and prevent
special.
the defending champion from taking part in the Australian Open, set to start next week. Djokovic's case has intensified international scrutiny over the treatment of immigrants and refugees in Australia. Later in the broadcast, we'll look at the people he leaves behind in the detention center where he was held. We'll speak with another man who's been held by Australia for 8 years.
A special exemption? Why? Because you can hit a fucking fuzzy yellow ball? Holy shit, dude. Priorities are completely fucked in this entire world. Oh yeah, I can hit a ball really well. Oh, congratulations! And I guess you just be allowed to infect everybody then, huh? You don't have a single medical reason why you can't take that vaccine, do you? No, I just want to be special. I'm special. I'm special, snowflake. They're already waiving interviews and cutting wait times to get more migrants to work. They're going to do everything they can, but frankly, I don't think there's not enough union busting chicanery that they could do to stem this tide of people going, I'm just not going to work for $14 an hour, doing, being a nurse. It's just people aren't doing it anymore, and rightfully so.
Russian and U.S. officials are meeting in Geneva today to address the escalating situation in Ukraine, where troops have been massing on the border with Russia in recent months. Further diplomatic talks are scheduled in Europe throughout the week. Meanwhile, in Kazakhstan, where Russian troops have deployed in recent days, officials say over 160 people have been killed and 5,000 arrested in the past week amidst the crackdown on protests. Kazakhstan's authoritarian president, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has claimed the recent unrest was an attempted coup d'etat. We'll have more on these stories after headlines. Outrage is mounting over news that a number of airlines are operating tens of thousands of near-empty flights in Europe amidst the COVID surge in order to retain coveted airport landing slots. Climate activists, including Greta Thunberg, slammed the practice, tweeting sarcastically, quote, "The EU surely is in a climate emergency mode." Back in the U.S., California Democrats are pushing forward a proposal for statewide universal health care. The measure would be funded by new taxes on businesses and individuals with higher incomes. On Saturday, the California Nurses Association held car caravans in 15 cities across California, where health and labor advocates joined with elected officials to promote California Guaranteed Health Care for All Act, also known as CalCare and AB 1400.
CalCare finally guarantees healthcare as a human right.
Oh yeah, well if it fixes the problem and it and it allows the oligarchs to make a shitload of money, they'll find some excuse to hating on immigrants is just a convenience thing, right? They just need an other. So, it's Antifa, immigrants are good. Antifa, Tucker Carlson himself said, I'm not anti-immigrant. Tucker Carlson. The whites are becoming irrelevant. Tucker Carlson, he'd be all, I don't hate immigrants. They're coming in here and working for $5 an hour. I got an illegal immigrant as my intern, right? They'll just, it's Antifa, it's the liberal. That's what I think is going to happen once they get in power in 2022, 2024. Is that the other is going to become the progressive, the liberal. And they're, it's going to be rather mask off. It's like, well, we're not using coded language anymore. No, your liberal neighbor is anti-American. Your progressive neighbor is anti-American, right? And then it's going to spiral from there, right? I think that's what's going to happen, is that they're going to start otherizing directly people on the left.
In California. It ensures the elimination of the profit motive and that patient care
No,
is
you're
the
right.
highest
Unsatiable.
priority.
Trump
Remember,
did
Medicare
he
was
did that.
called radical too. It was called socialist. It was called the same business groups. The American Medical Association was against it.
It sure does.
Let's remember that. These battles have been fought and won before.
I am looking at my colleagues who tell me they are worried about their family's well-being. We are told it's too expensive to have a single-payer healthcare system. Guess what? Life is priceless.
That's
Health
right.
is priceless.
Yeah.
In New York City, a Chinese man.
Well, I'm look, Unsatiable. I like your energy, but look, we can't allow ourselves to fall into this trap of if we only did this one thing, everything would be better. Progressives need to understand that this is your fight for life. You say, I'm a progressive. Well, guess what? You just signed up for a lifetime fight. Okay? Not a single issue fight, not this or that. No, it is a marathon until you hit the grave. Right? Lobbying, gerrymandering, electoral college, free health care, free education, care for the elderly. It is after we destroy lobbying, let's go after corporate welfare. Right? It's not just one thing. It is a basket of things that need to happen. And that's where the progressive comes in and says, I have this basket of policies that you have been waiting your whole life for. And boy, oh boy, you're going to love it when these policies get in place. Fighting for Medicare would be much easier if we made it illegal. But yeah, no, I mean, they're all connected. That's when, that we're all connected. And then like one person could really give a shit about abortion. Another person could give a really big shit about single payer health care. That's why the progressive needs to come in very kind of similar to what Bernie did. And, he's got his 40-minute stump speech. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. Right? We got to go after the corporate oligarchs. Right? Look, it's more difficult. Right? Because it's so easy for a neoliberal to go, oh, that's Trump. Trump bad, vote for me. Or for the right winger to go, liberal bad, be scared, be afraid, vote for me. Right? Abortion good, abortion bad, vote for me. Right? If you're a right winger. Right? Progressives need to step it up. They need to step it up. Not only must you have that basket of policies, but you got to have a nice tight 5 minutes of explaining not even 5 minutes, fucking 1 minute. You get 1 minute to tell me why your basket of policies is superior. And progressives need to put in the work. This is politics. This is the art of changing minds. It's difficult. It's tiring. It's frustrating. And if you are a progressive, it is your lifelong battle. Welcome. Welcome to the fucking, marathon.
Man who was attacked in an anti-Asian hate crime last year has died of his injuries. Yao Pan Ma died on December 31st, 8 months after the 61-year-old was knocked to the ground and repeatedly kicked in the head.
Ridiculous.
A representative from Ma's family is calling for charges against the suspect to include murder.
Yes.
In other news from New York City, student workers at Columbia University have ended their 10-week strike after reaching a tentative agreement with the school to increase wages and improve health benefits. The deal also allows members of the Student Workers at Columbia Union to use third-party...
Guys, I don't know. I don't know if collective political action works. I don't know, guys. Maybe sitting around and, jingling our balls and making a couple smarmy comments on Twitter is the right way of doing it. I don't know. I don't know about this collective political action stuff, guys. Clearly it's got some pitfalls, and it's, maybe we should just stop and, allow daddy government to tell us what we need to do.
Arbitrators in instances of discrimination or harassment. The vote to ratify the deal is scheduled for later this month. And the pioneering film legend Sidney Poitier has died at the age of 94. In 1963, Poitier became the first black man to win an Academy Award for Best Actor. His many films include Lilies of the Field, A Raisin in the Sun, which he also performed on Broadway, and In the Heat of the Night, a story about a black police officer contending with racism.
They made the TV show off that movie, I believe.
The Jim Crow South. Sidney Poitier was active in the civil rights movement in 1964. He flew with Harry...
Oh, yeah, Look at the profits. Record profits. And I'm not just talking pharmaceutical. No, they don't. Unsatiable. They don't tax them enough. All right. They tax them enough to get them scared to move to Texas or whatever. It's not enough. Okay. Take one look at Nancy Pelosi's fucking stock trades and tell me that these fucking people aren't taxed enough.
Belafonte to Jackson, Mississippi, carrying $70,000 in cash to fund the Freedom Summer campaign to register black voters. The pair were harassed and chased by armed members of the Ku Klux Klan. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said of Sidney Poitier, quote, "I consider him a friend. I consider him a great friend of humanity," King said. And those are some of the...
Wow, Sidney Poitier. I mean, my favorite movie from Sidney Poitier is Sneakers. Ever seen Sneakers? Let's go ahead and we'll cap off this 1 hour stream with watching the trailer to Sneakers. God damn, this is a good movie. This is such a good movie. Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier.
This LTX-71 concealable mic is part of the same system that NASA used when they faked the Apollo moon landings. Worked for them. Shouldn't give us too many problems.
They break and enter.
How are we doing?
Cars in position on the fire escape. Mothers in the cable vault.
Dan Aykroyd, too, yeah.
But they're not thieves.
We're getting too old for this.
They know your secrets.
There he is.
But they're not spies.
Gotta be there somewhere. What's he doing?
Mr. Bishop, do you mind if I take a look?
Carl, grow up.
I give you something to work, baby. So people hire you to break into their places to make sure no one can break into their places?
It's a living.
Not a very good one.
Now they've got a new client.
National Security Agency.
I don't work for the government.
Relax, Marty. It's just everybody on your team has had some sort of problem in their past.
Now what are you saying? The NSA killed Kennedy?
No, they shot him, but they didn't kill him. He's still alive.
They may not
I don't think so,
job,
Dan.
Liz, I need your help.
I will not be dragged back into your world.
But they don't have a choice.
This is a good movie.
Bust you. We want to hire you. We're the good guys, Marty.
Can't tell you what a relief that is.
Yeah,
Dick.
right.
Your job
Dick.
is to find that little black box.
This is great.
We got it.
All the shit they do to steal this, it's so
not
good.
about who's got the most bullets. It's about who controls the information.
Anybody want to shut down the Federal Reserve?
Hey, don't screw around with that thing. It's all about the information.
So it's a code breaker? No, it's the code breaker.
I love those early 80s, 90s DOS interfaces.
Where is the item? Can you guarantee my safety?
Oh!
You've got trouble. Here, maybe this might help. An old buddy of mine who was in Desert Storm sent it to me. Of course, he was on the other side.
Now give me the box, Marty!
Damn, Ben Kingsley? River Phoenix, R.I.P.
Fire escape at the end of the north corridor.
And there he is, Sidney Poitier.
Directly north, about 30 yards.
It's a good movie.
5 seconds. Hang up, fish. Hang up. They've almost got us.
Hell yeah, Sneakers, boy. It's a good fucking flick. Good fucking flick, man. R.I.P. Sidney Poitier, R.I.P. River Phoenix, R.I.P. Bob Saget. A lot of people dying.
If you want to lead something.
Oh my God, dude. The only advice I want from you is how to pick up chicks. Straight up. Is this your masterclass on how to pick up chicks? No, it's about leadership. Yeah, leadership. Yeah, because that's what I think of when I think of the Clinton political strategy, is bold leadership. Look at these hacks. Fucking masterclass. Anyway, you seem like a good friend who wouldn't make fun of me for eating a burger plain. That's how I eat my burgers. Ketchup, mustard, burger, bun, maybe mayo, maybe a fried egg. If I'm feeling fancy, a fried egg. You ever had a fried egg on your burger? It's great. I don't even like it with cheese. No, I get a hamburger, ketchup, mustard. It's beef in a bun. Beef in a bun. I don't want a salad. What the fuck you doing putting lettuce and tomato and shit into my hamburger? If I wanted a salad, I'd order one. I want a hamburger. You put a tomato on a burger and all you taste is the goddamn tomato. I get sometimes if the lettuce is crisp and crunchy and effervescent, I'll leave it on there. Okay. But if you got some flaccid, flappy, soggy, flap of green on my burger. No, I'm not eating a burger for my fucking health. Hell no. All right, Unsatiable. We're going to go ahead and give you that motherfucking coveted Garbage Fuel Award of the day. Sticking around. Thank you for being the only guest here. It does make my job a little easier. So congratulations, Unsatiable, for earning today's Garbage Fuel Award of the day, for contributing in today's stream. I very much appreciate it. Does make my job a little bit easier when I have something to bounce off of. But, I'd be doing this if it was just me. I'd be doing this if it was just me in a hermit cave. Maybe not in a hermit cave. That might be going a little too far. But I'm doing this because this is my political activism. Don't think I'm not going to be joining, marches. If I can get across the border without having to take a fucking, test there and back. Right now, going across the Canadian border is hell. And it costs money. It costs hundreds of dollars because you got to get these tests, and then you got to time the tests. It's a whole fucking thing. So don't think for 1 second that I won't be marching in them streets when I get an opportunity. But right now, this is my political activism because it's a 3-step program, folks. Step 1 is to inform yourself. Watch streams like this. Watch the news. Maybe even read. Go for it. Go nuts. Step 2, identify or create that progressive organization in your area. There's probably already one there. Go ahead and join it. They need your help. If you legitimately don't have one, well, guess what? Guess who has a new job? Guess who has a new job? You. Yeah, guess who's making a new political organization in their town? It's you. Do you care about this shit? Do you care about your country? You care about democracy? Do you care? This is what you got to put in the work, because that's step 3. Put in the work. At least 1 hour a week. I put in at least 5. Okay? You got to put in the work to keep democracy. I take all just for 60 days and nothing happens. I probably hepatitis. Kyle Kulinski has a video out today. Guess how much Alex Jones makes from those supplements? $55 million. That grift, baby. That grift is something else. $55 million. Yeah, look it up on Kyle Kulinski's channel. That grift, man. Big bank. Big bank. So, big props to you, Unsatiable. Keep up that good fight. Let me give you one little piece of dating advice. Okay? It sounds obvious. It sounds obvious, but it will get you laid. I guarantee it. Listen to me. The word is listen. Oh, what do you mean listen? No. Listen. Listen to what she's saying. Don't try to top her. Don't try to, come up with a funnier story, a better story. Just listen to her. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Wow, she said that? Wow, he did that? Really? You'll be in them pants in 2 hours, my friend. Most people just want you engaged in that conversation. All right? Just don't try to top her. Don't try to come up with a better story. Be engaged. Listen. Wow, well, what did she do next? Yeah, I mean, that's also how to be a good friend, but it's also how to be a good lover and a good partner as well. So check it out, right? So say, you're on the Tinders, right? You guys are messaging back and forth there, right? You both swiped left or right or whatever the fuck, right? And she mentions, something stupid in the chat, right? You guys go on a date. You bring it up. Just bring it up. Oh yeah, hey, I saw this great article about dolphins. Yeah, you brought it up there in the chat. I was reading an article about these dolphins. I love dolphins. Yeah, I remember you said that. It's, just don't try to top them. That's the big thing. I see this so often, like you get so nervous, you get really, really nervous. And I'm going to impress her with all these great stories. No. When it's appropriate, tell your awesome story, right? But let her, get it out. Let her, tell you her story. Don't talk so much about yourself and ask them about them. That's a big part of it. But you got to come off as genuine. You can't just be like, oh, I'm checking boxes. Like, oh yeah, really? Check. No, you actually have to get engaged. I know it's tough, right? Because like, I don't give a shit about a lot of the shit, right, that people talk to me about, like, celebrity culture and shit like that. Checking those pickup artist boxes, and women, they can sniff that shit out from a mile away. Any self-respecting mother nowadays is teaching their daughters about the scumbags that will lie to you. They always have, but I think they're well aware of also like the pickup artist level of con artistry, right? But that's my big piece of advice. Just fucking actually sit there and listen. Just ask her a couple. Yeah, wow, really? Wow, you got in the car and then what? At the very least, you'll have a fun date. You got it, Unsatiable. You have yourself a good night. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Step 3. 3-step program. 3-step program. Fuck fascism. Peace out. Right there.